Good afternoon, Facebook followers. I'm Brian Whitaker, the Assistant Director of Emergency Management here in St. Clair County. I'm joined today with our EMA Director, Herb Simmons, and we're here to talk a little bit about the flooding that's been happening for the past week.
Well, I mean, you're right, past week, and it's been busy. Of course, we wanted to come and bring in a kind of an update. I know it's been a while since we've been on here, but, we went from a couple of years of being here every day and through the pandemic, and now in EMA, as you know, and our followers, we go from one incident to another, and this is another one of those disasters that have left some people displaced.
Absolutely. So starting on the early morning hours of Tuesday, July 26th, about 1 o'clock in the morning, heavy rain started in St. Clair County, and by the time that rain finished, there were parts of our county that had more than 10 inches of rainfall in about a 7-hour period. So we definitely had major flash flooding along any significant waterway. Here you're seeing some video of Caseyville, Illinois, where water was coming over the top there near the railroad tracks, and some substantial flooding that just occurred throughout the county. During this period of time, we had to do an evacuation of our county animal control. There were more than 60 animals that had to be removed, and thanks for all the great members of Team St. Clair, foster homes for every animal that needed a spot.
Well, and I think it just goes for, as you can see there, the new bus that we have came in handy. That was fresh into the toolbox, as we say we have, but we were able to help relocate those animals. We put them there temporarily at the county highway garage. Chairman Kern stepped up and issued the declaration.
Correct.
Right away once we knew that there was a major impact throughout St. Clair County, and that was the first step of being able to get some resources in that we needed.
Absolutely. Our great fire rescue personnel did more than 90 water rescues in that first 24-hour period of people that were stranded in their vehicles or stranded even in their homes. Several neighborhoods became underwater. You're seeing some here on your screen, that they took boats into these neighborhoods to help get people out, to make sure they had all the necessary resources they need. We did have some critical infrastructures that had to be evacuated. A nursing home in Caseyville, another rehab facility in Caseyville. Both had to be evacuated due to flooding. And because of all this, we were able to set up quickly a couple of shelters. We had a shelter opened Tuesday afternoon in Caseyville, and another shelter opened up in East St. Louis. Both of those stayed open through the night on Tuesday and into Wednesday morning, when both of them were able to close as they had met the needs of those communities. And then we had another little episode of another about 3 inches of rain the following day.
Yeah, and it just, it's one of those cascading events, and then, of course, those pictures pretty well summed it up. There was areas of the county, especially, as you said, in Caseyville, and I can't say enough, you mentioned the first responders. Men and women go out there day and night, and they were out there in the early mornings with the boats, our special services from St. Clair County, came out with other water teams to help rescue people. Yeah, there was a lot of individuals that tried to drive through water and got stranded, and we preach that all the time. If you see standing in water, turn around, don't drown. But some people just don't seem to get that message, so there was a lot of those rescues that was made from people just making a poor choice.
Absolutely. A lot of water that had to be removed. We've done several requests this week with the state of Illinois to put in requests for additional pumps. Pumps have been deployed to 3 different parts of the county that needed additional assistance helping remove that water. And those pumps are still operating at some of those locations right now, because when you get that much water, it takes quite a while to bring it down.
Well, and I think one of the things that we actually started monitoring this event 24 hours before, when our partners at the National Weather Service started predicting that we could see as much as anywhere from 5 to 10 to 12 inches of rain coming. In fact, I remember you and I talking on the phone that evening, and it was saying, well, it could be 5 inches, it could be 7 inches, and so we were preparing for the worst. And that's when we reached out to the local agencies and said, look, got to be prepared. We know that there are some of those areas in the county that when you get a large amount of rain in a short amount of time, we do see some flash flooding. But when you get 10, 12 inches of rain like this, I don't think anybody is prepared for it like that.
Definitely. There were places through the county that have had significant flooding before, and what they saw this time was extreme compared to those. And like floodwaters do, they came up, they've gone back down, but now we're moving into that recovery phase. And you attended a press conference this morning to kind of talk about what the next steps of that's going to look like.
Well, and that's one of the things we wanted to come, because we haven't been on doing a live update on it, because I know the news has been covering quite a bit of it, but we wanted to just come on. We did have a press conference. Mayor Easton from East St. Louis had his team there, and believe me, they've been working around the clock. Every morning at 8 o'clock, they've had a briefing with all of their department heads, trying to make sure, for one, that everybody is okay. And I think that's the silver lining of this. There was no injuries reported. There was no loss of life here, which is thankful. A couple of the other states around us wasn't so lucky. But yeah, we are in that recovery state now. That's why they had a press conference this morning talking about what's kind of been done, where we are now, and what we're looking for as we move forward in the future. I can't say enough. Like I said, it all started with the Chairman Kern declaring the declaration here in the county, followed up by some of the other communities, Cahokia Heights, East St. Louis, Caseyville. Can't say enough for the leaders there, and even the citizens. I mean, a lot of them sent pictures, and some of those videos that we show you there came from some of the citizens that had taken them. And of course, we did the drone flyover, because we wanted to be able to document the extent of the areas that was mostly affected, and I think those pictures pretty well show that.
Absolutely. And we're still getting a lot of requests, people going, how do I get assistance? How do I report? The best thing you can do right now is you can call 211 and make sure you get your residents on the list for those to be checked. We've had over 300 homes that have reported damage. The Red Cross damage assessment teams have hit nearly 200 of those already. We've had 42 homes that have been classified as major damage. We've had another 40 plus homes classified with minor damage. Several more that were marked in that affected range. So we're definitely having homes that are impacted by this. As we move through that process, it helps us. One, when you contact 211, they will gather information from you on what type of assistance you may need. The Red Cross has been going door to door delivering cleaning supplies to residents who indicated that they needed cleaning supplies to help clean up from that flood. And this weekend, we're hosting a multi-agency response center, or a MARC, at the East St. Louis Senior High School.
Well, and that's going to be the location to where families that are affected from the flooding can come and meet with those agencies to see what type of assistance that may be further needed. We know that there are some families that's going to be displaced for quite some time. Some of the homes that has been assessed, has had as much as 4 or 5 feet of water in them. Those families are not going to be able to go back in anytime soon, over the next several months. So there's got to be arrangements made for that. So this Saturday and Sunday at the East St. Louis Senior High School is where that's going to be scheduled at, on Saturday from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. and then on Sunday from noon to 5 p.m. Those families and individuals that was affected by this event can come and talk with the representatives from those agencies to see just what assistance is going to be needed. This last week, we were able to help the city set up of shelter in East St. Louis for the people who were displaced, thanks to the help of the Red Cross. That's really been a big tool that we need, and it's always great to have the Red Cross in our toolbox, because we call them and tell them what we need, and they put it all together for us.
They have been a great partner to work with. Lots of questions coming through about where can people offer assistance, where can they make donations. Community Lifeline at 1764 State Street is the central depository that's been taking the donations of food and clothing clothing items, and then they're working through the United Way and the Red Cross to get those redistributed out to the various communities. If you can't make it there, talk to your local church, talk to local organizations in your community, and definitely get those donations on hand to them. And they all work together in times like this and work closely with our organization in the event we need to reach out and get more assistance.
Well, as we told them this morning at the press conference, we don't have the luxury of the disaster itself. The disaster comes and it goes. We have check and balances that have to be put in place, and that's what the mayor from East St. Louis and his staff is doing on the county level through our office. Is kind of the depository of the resources, and that's what you mentioned about when they needed the extra pumps. We were able to reach out and get them. Our good partners at IEMA, agencies like that. I can't speak enough for the director of IEMA. The governor's office has been his staff has had the ears open, and when we've needed something, we've been able to secure that. When it all comes together, when the Team St. Clair is what we teamed it. And as I told him today at the press conference, that we came through over 2 years of the pandemic, this flooding. We've seen some floods before, but right now we've got several families that have been their life has been turned upside down once again, and with the help of Team St. Clair, and that's everybody from the pastoral care to our partners in our emergency operation plan, which I think it speaks for itself. It come together.
Yes, it did.
It shows that teamwork is the best way to do it. But you're right. People who want to help can make that their donations there, or call your local church, and we'll get a number and put up. East St. Louis has a hotline number that they have available that they're accepting those calls on. But if you're one of those families that have been affected by this, 211 is where you have to start the process at. And over the next couple of days, we'll be bringing you some more information on what's going to take place this Saturday and Sunday for those who have been affected. If you need transportation, that's kind of being arranged. The city is doing that. But we just wanted to come on here today to let you know that if you know somebody that's been affected in those areas, we're trying to do everything we can to put all the pieces together. Like I said, we're not like that flood. We just don't get to go away and then just be talked about. We're going to be here to help those families as much as possible. We were able to hook up Mr. Stubblefield from the St. Clair County Grants Department today with the Red Cross on some of the people who have been displaced. He's working some paperwork through to try to help find them some places to stay while their home is not livable right now. Liz Patton from the Eastside Health Department was with us this morning, giving some updates on what needs to be done if you're going to be cleaning your residence on your own. So I was glad to see Liz actively there to answer those health questions.
And some other questions coming in about who's all available. This assistance is available to anyone anywhere in the county that suffered from flooding. Obviously, the centers are set up in the areas most impacted, but the resources are available to everyone. So the information we will post about what's available at this weekend's mark would be available to anybody in the county. Any assistance that becomes available outside of this would be available to anybody in the county. What we can recommend now is call 211, make sure you're on the list. Take pictures of the damage that has occurred in your residence. If you have pictures of that area prior to the damage, it's important to keep those as well. Those are all things that are going to be very necessary as everyone moves through the recovery stages here.
Well, and that number 211 has been busy, so don't get in a hurry. Hang on, if you have to be on hold, but they have a list of questions that they have to obtain from you. And yes, they're going to ask you if you have insurance, if you didn't have insurance, and it's okay if you didn't. That's fine, but you need to tell them that. And just before we went on this afternoon here, I had a gentleman from Dupo, Illinois, call and say that he's, sustained some water damage, and, we told him, make sure you call 211 and get on that list, because that's where it all starts. They have to compile that information, put it in that database, and then an assessment team will come out and make that assessment and determine, if it was from the current damage or if it was old damage. But the declaration is for the entire county of St. Clair. So if you live there, if you suffered any of that water damage from this flooding event, be sure to call that 211 number.
Absolutely. We thank you all for following us each and every time we go live here. Stay tuned to St. Clair County EMA, where we bring you the latest and greatest information as it relates to the ongoing disasters here in St. Clair County. And we'll definitely be posting a lot more information. We'll answer some of these questions that have come up about where they can make donations, what numbers to call. And as always, if anything else comes up, we'll be right back here with you. Thank you for joining us.